Hello there, welcome to my channel Novice Modelling and the Midlife Crisis. My name is Andy, and this afternoon I'm just going to talk you through my collection of 12 vintage Spitfires that I've been constructing over the past 6 or 7 weeks. I've been doing these as a sort of speed build exercise, so none of these are particularly well built. The reason for this is I just basically wanted to get some models on my modelling bench so as I could learn how to use my new airbrush. Now, last night I actually primed all of these models in my garage, and I've decided to prime them in 4 different colours well, I've got 4 different primer aerosols, so I decided to just use them all up. So I actually used Army Painter Colour Primer. The main reason I used this was basically it was a large can, which I wanted, and it seemed to be a fair bit cheaper than Tamiya. So the first 3 that I'm going to show you are coloured in matte black. So let's give them a look. Incidentally, I do actually have a collection of 33, which is now actually 40 Spitfires that I'm going to be building over the coming months. The subsequent ones are actually going to be built to a better degree of quality. There is a video in my library of the 33 original kits, which if you find this sort of thing interesting and you kind of like looking at old and vintage and modern kits and comparing them, it's actually quite interesting. There's actually a what's in the box for all of the models that I've built so far, and there is one of my speed build videos, which normally take around about 15 minutes. Like I say, I've just been bish bash boshing these together. I haven't really been paying them that much attention. So anyway, the first one that we have to look at is a 1967 Hawk Mark 22. Now, I mean, I find vintage kits kind of interesting, and this one particular because obviously it was, it was constructed around about 1967, so it's been passing its way from house to house for pretty much the last sort of 50 odd years, and finally it has found someone that's treated it in a rather disrespectful manner, but at least it's got built. That's the way I look at this sort of thing. Now, as you can see, this one's been sprayed in black. I'm actually quite happy with the finish, to be honest with you. It looks reasonably good to a novice like me. I mean, obviously, if you're slightly more capable at these proceedings, well, you're probably going to say he's made a bit of a mess of it. Now, I did actually have a go at filling the gaps between the wing and the fuselage on this one, and as you can probably see, I made a right pig's ear here. But the only way you learn how to do these things is making a mess, and that's what these models are for at the end of the day. So there we go, that's the 1967 Hawk. The next one we've got for your examination is this Testors 1978 Mark 22, which is just actually a rebox of the Hawk model. Reboxing is something that I've actually found quite interesting when I've been looking at these vintage kits. There is actually a video of this one where I actually built this in 1 minute and 35 seconds. These are really easy kits to build. They only have around about 10 parts, so it's not that much of a big deal, I can assure you, but I'm doubtful whether there's another video similar to it on YouTube, and hopefully I have the world record for building a 172 Spitfire. Like I said, that one's in the library as well. So I mean, again, this one's come out reasonably well. I seem to have a bit of a hair going on there. It's a bit pitted, it's not perfect, but like I say, this is for practicing. I'm going to be doing this in a grey and green camouflage colour with an undecided colour on the base. I probably will have another attempt at filling some of these gaps in. I've learned a little bit since, and hopefully I'll do it a little bit better. So that one's number 2. Next up, we have a rather infamous kit. This is a Ventura Mark 22 as well. This was from 1995. Now, if you're unfamiliar with these kits, they're built in New Zealand, and they're kind of difficult. They do actually have a lot of pre-work that you have to do. I didn't do any pre-work on this, and as you can see, it really hasn't gone together very well. It does need a lot of sanding out and a lot of filing. I did get into trouble with a few nice guys who basically said, "You're not doing this justice," to which my reply was, "It cost me a tenner." So, Like again, it's a practice one. I do actually have an additional 4 Venturas now, and I'm going to be using them in the future as a benchmark to actually examine my hopeful progress in building models. And I can assure you we'll be getting a damn better finish on it than this one. Again, this was put together in 15 minutes, so it's basically what I call part of my dirty dozen, and it's basically disposable. But I'm going to keep it just for personal purposes or personal reasons. Again, the painting is a bit pitted. I've got to be honest with you. It's not that great on this one. There is actually some sort of reaction going on here that I'm not quite sure what that's all about. But obviously there was something underneath the paint that possibly should have removed prior. But you can't see these things, so I didn't know it was there. The engine cowling on this is an absolute disgrace. I admit that. But there we go. There's a video for that online if you can have a look. I actually call it, "Is this the worst model ever?" Now, a slight change from the Spitfires. As you can see, this is actually a P51 Deem Mustang from the 1990s by a company called Starfix. Again, this one is possibly kind of infamous, as I introduced my Black & Decker saw to this one. My Black & Decker sander, sorry, in a technique I call B&D SM, Black & Decker sanding machine. Now, I actually attacked this wing here because there was a rather nasty imperfection, and apart from losing all the detail, it's actually come up quite nice, which is kind of bizarre. This was again a bit of a controversial video that I did. Well, obviously, I mean, you don't see many model makers attack things with big sanders. Now, I've actually painted this one originally in black, but due to a couple of conversations I had last night, my intention is to paint this silver, incidentally. A few guys actually suggested painting it black instead, because you get a better result if you paint in black and you intend to use an aluminium finish. So I decided to paint it half and half. One of my commenters said just paint the undersides black, but I kind of thought, well, I won't really be able to see the difference. So I thought if I do one side black and one side white, you know, you'll be able to see what is the better finish. Again, this was a bit of a nightmare to make. The undercarriage has completely fallen apart, but that's mainly due to the fact it fell on the floor with a few other of these Spitfires. I'm just calling it battle damage. There was a bit of a collapsing situation going on here in the model room. I'm probably intending to paint this silver, like I say, put the decals on, and come November the 5th, I think I might attach it to a firework and see if it can actually fly. We're now moving on to another kit that I'm kind of like. I've also moved on to using colour primer skeleton bone in the Army painter range. This particular one is a combination of 2 kits. It's basically a Mr. Craft kit from 2014 and a Smur kit from 1998, which I decided to build as a Frankenstein's monster, basically using 50% parts from each kit, solely because basically this is a reboxing. They both share the same moulding, so they do actually fit together perfectly. Obviously, I wasn't quite sure at the time, but you know, I mean, you've got to try these things, haven't you, when you're looking for new experiences. This one's come out quite nice. Again, we've actually lost a wheel on this, but I do actually have it, so we'll be reattaching that at some point. The finish on this, I think, is quite nice, and I really like the colour. This I'm going to be intending to paint in a desert camouflage scheme. Yeah, so that's not come out too bad, I don't think. It's not perfect, none of these are. I mean, again, I might have a go at filling these little, rather unsightly gaps. The gaps are more pronounced now that I've painted them. I have noticed that, so obviously filling these things in with some modelling putty is obviously a really good idea. Next up, we have a PM Plastic Models 1982 Mark 5B. These are really simple kits. As you can see, this one's actually having a bit of a gluing issue. This one's come out quite well as well, I think. I mean, this I'm actually going to paint up in Turkish markings, because we did actually come with some Turkish markings, so it's kind of interesting to see these done in different decals. I mean, you put all British on these, they get a bit boring, don't they? So there we go, that's the PM from 1982. And then we have a Pioneer. This is a Mark 5C Tropical from 1989. This is actually a reboxing of the previous PM kit. Again, I had to go at doing some filling here and made a right pig's ear of it, so and the wings are kind of flexing as well, so it probably needs a bit of re-gluing. So this is not really a very good example of even my limited skills, but it's a really easy model to go together. It doesn't actually come with any detail in the cockpit, so it's really basic, and it's not a very nice one. I probably wouldn't recommend anybody buy one of those, to be honest with you. And next up we have a 1982 Matchbox, which also has a bit of battle damage, as this one fell on the floor. This has got some quite nice detail on it. Again, I probably should fill these gaps in. It's a bit of a shame about the propeller. It's actually quite a nice model, to be honest with you, for a 1982 vintage, but obviously Matchbox were at the top of their game at the time, I think. Again, I'm probably going to fill these in, but the actual paint finish is, I think it's pretty good. It's not too bad. I mean, I did all these basically in one fell swoop, you know, and it took me 10 minutes per coating. So I think my mass production technique for this particular way of doing it has been a bit of a success. Now this one is a Kovazovody Prostakov from the Czech Republic, around about 1983. This one I've actually painted the cockpit interior and protected it, or tried to protect it with a bit of sponge. Again, we've got some nasty gap lines here, which I might actually try to attend to. The painting it's come out quite well, I think, this one. I'm quite proud of this one. It looks pretty damn good. So we're going to do a bit of extra work on this, and we're going to see how well we can get it to look. I mean, there's a real nasty gap there, so I'm definitely going to have to bung some filler on this, aren't I? Next up, we have a 1990s Encore from the US. This is kind of interesting, as it's a US company. Well, it's actually made in Argentina, and it's based on a French Hella mold. So it's kind of been around. Again, this one would have been originally retailed in America, so God knows how it ended up in the UK. Again, the cockpit's been painted on this one. I did have a go at the filling and did a bit of a bodge job. It's a bit of a shame. This one comes with some really nice Portuguese markings, so I might be putting them on a Hella that I actually have. I'm pretending that, you know, that was the one. Again, the paint's not that bad, I don't think. It's come out pretty good. I'm quite happy with it. I've only got 3 to go if you manage to stick with me this far. This is one of my favourites. This is the 1980 Hasegawa Mark 1 with a wooden propeller, which I've already painted in mahogany. This is a really nice one. Again, I've painted the cockpit interior and the wheels already on this, although I've got some overspray on the wheel, but I can touch that up at a later date. Again, we've got some rather nasty seam lines here, but again, I think I can get around that with a bit of putty. Painting wise, it's pretty good. I think it's not too bad. It's a bit speckly here, but yeah, I'm quite happy with that one. We're going to be doing this in the early pre-war and very early war markings, where they actually had the undersides done in black and white. I think that'll look quite striking, and as it's, you know, the earliest Mark 1 with the twin blade propeller, I think that'll look pretty cool. So there we go, there's that one. Second to last and almost least, this is the this is the problem child, well, one of the problem childs. This one fell on the floor as well when we had our collapse. We're obviously having a bit of a gluing issue here. We've lost the filter from here. We've lost a bit of the tail. We've lost both of the landing gears, and we've lost the propeller. This one is actually an Airfix Snap and Fix 1980 Mark 1. So we're going to have a go at repairing it. I'm not too sure what I'm going to be able to do with the propeller, because I can't even find that. The carpet monster has well and truly eaten it. But the paint wise, it's come out pretty good. I'm quite happy with it. Yeah, bit of a shame, but they're kind of disposable in my opinion. They are just practice mules, I think some people call them. Here we are, last but not least, this is a 1980 Mark 1 Hella. Like I said, this is exactly the same as the 1990s Encore. Again, this one's come out reasonably well. There's a bit missing here and there. Again, I need to probably do a bit of attention here, but I'm quite happy with it. This one's going to be painted green and brown as well, as that's obviously one of the earlier, and I might again do this one in the black and white undersides. So there we go. I've actually been doing this YouTubing now for about 7 weeks. I've been quite surprised by the positive response I've been getting. I do actually quite enjoy responding to comments when you have the time to put them. I'm actually going for 4 nights in work now, so I won't be particularly quick on responding, but I will have a quick look when I wake up. I am actually kind of begging for subscribers at the moment. I do have about 570 at the last time I had a quick look. I'd like to get to 1,000, because apparently that's when YouTube start paying you money. I don't really think I'm going to make any money out of this, because they actually pay around about 0.01 pence per view. So yeah, I might make enough in a year or so to buy myself a couple of new models, but I ain't holding out any great hopes for that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed my little video. Questions and suggestions are always welcome. Like I say, I always try to respond to your questions and suggestions. Been getting some really nice tips off some experienced modelers, that if you are a novice like myself, you're well advised to have a look at the comment board and pick up a few bits of knowledge. So join me for my model building ride, and we'll have some more videos up in the future with me applying some actual proper paints to these. Thanks for watching, and be seeing you.